Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. There are so many things to talk about. And I think, that is the best thing, especially when you clearly see a lot of things wrong or you see discrepancies in the things around you. And, there are people that try to make you feel like expressing yourself is wrong, especially on a topic like racism. It's absolutely not wrong. But if you can't handle listening to something, your initial reaction is try to do everything you can to stop it. So let's talk about my topic. I think what's really annoying is when people try to play both sides of the fence. And we see this quite often. We'll see a group of people where racism originated from. And then when anybody speaks on that racism or speak against the racism, they all of a sudden want to be the voice of morality. Well, look, you can't be a villain and then be the voice of morality at the same time. It doesn't work. And the mixed messages, in my opinion, make people not trust you even more. And unfortunately, we got too many people among our group, like your Candace Owens. Nothing is racist unless it happens to her. When it happens to her, all of a sudden racism is real. When it happens to anyone else within our group, racism is over. Racism, you know what I mean? It's so much going on, and we got to combat this kind of stuff, unfortunately, from within and from those outside of us, because it is constantly happening all at once, you know? But now I have learned to just shut these people down. I had an incident. What brought this on was my last live stream. Someone came on and said, "Why does this have to be about race? Why are you race baiting?" First of all, Black people do not race bait. Whenever we speak of our experience regarding racism, it's because it done happened to us already, or it done happened to someone that's close to us or we know of, or it done happened to someone in the news or someone that got murdered unjustly out here. We don't race bait. When we speak of racism, we speak from facts. Okay. We don't speak in hypothetics. We speak from facts. So that ain't race baiting. You can't have active racism going on for hundreds of years, active, full blown active racism going on for hundreds of years. And then when we talk about it, you're constantly trying to shut us down and say, why does it have to be about race? You made it about race. Y'all made it about race. You thrived on making us believe everything white is great and everything Black is terrible. You've been thriving on that. Okay. You can't have active racism going on and then telling people not to talk about it. So you're trying to run a con game on us, and it's just simply not working. It's not working. The scam that you're running is not working. You're not going to convince us the act of racism is just as bad as talking about it. They even know that's not true, y'all. Don't fall for that. I don't care how much emotion they express when they're coming at us, even they don't believe that. But if they can get you to believe it, to shut you down and keep you from talking about it, that's what their goal is. But their goal is always going to fail as long as racism is going strong out here. Then your message about why does it have to be about race falls flat on its face. Yes, you know, so over the years, when you hear them coming at us, on one hand, we see the racism, it's very blatant. And then on the other hand, they're trying to preach to you about not bringing race into things. Well, that's a little late. Racism has been in everything in this society. It's a little, you came late to the party when you say to us, why do you have to bring race into it? It's already been into it. What the hell are you talking about? So let me know what your experiences were when you dealt with these kind of things. It's like, okay, we're going to display this to you, but no matter what happens to you, don't put us in a position where we got to listen to the fallout. Well, you're going to always listen to the fallout, whether you like it or not. So that's why I said, they're playing both sides of the fence in black and white because they are. They are. Not only are we putting up with this as adults, our children are putting up with this in school. And we're dealing with the microaggressions on these jobs where they'll try to nitpick at something, and you're dealing with a microaggression from them. And we see this all the time. One thing I notice, especially on social media, when you see those things happening, it's up to us to shut it down immediately. As long as you're allowing them to talk to you in those manners, especially online, then you are giving them the power. But when you see what's happening and you just shut them down right in their tracks, that's you taking the power back away from them. And that is something that we must start practicing online a lot more. You know, no, you do not have to listen to them going on and on trying to lecture us about not being a racist when racism has actively gone on in this country since they've been on the soil. No, you can't have it and then tell somebody else not to be that way when you've been that way. And it came and originated from your people, you know, and it just goes to tell me that you didn't rise to the top on intelligence. You did not rise to the top because you were the best. You took something very remedial and you rose to the top on something very remedial. You really did. You didn't go for anything intelligent. So racism is definitely not based on intelligence. There's no intelligence involved in it at all. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Shalom. And let me just thank Clowning 81. Thank you for becoming a new member. Malika, thank you for becoming a new member. And Lisa Jackson, thank you for the super chat. It's all being exposed. Them folks are in for a bumpy ride. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, y'all. We are getting ready to go through some pretty dramatic changes. And all our people got to do is stay strong and stay on that path to the kingdom, and don't let them take you off of your square, and don't get discouraged, and don't feel like, oh, this is never going to be over. It is going to be over, y'all. It is coming to an end. I notice a lot of things they could control at one time, they can't control anymore. And I think what's bothering them the most, especially when it comes down to the Israel Hamas war, what's bothering them is all this time they have been trying to manipulate us to take a side, and they have not been able to pull it off at all. Their problem is, and it's a problem in this society altogether, they think they're going to guilt trip our people into everything. And the guilt tripping days are done. You can't guilt trip us into being on your side anymore. That stuff, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it's not going to ever work again, y'all. It's never, ever going to work again. So we're going to take the time to blow off some steam. And if we got to do this again and again and again, then so be it. You know, I was I was talking to my son. He actually saw the last live stream and heard the last person I was on with. And he was like, Mom, I didn't like what that man said. He said, first of all, he didn't even sound like he had any sense. And I don't know. I don't want you on there and battling. I said, you know what? That's exactly what I can't do. I can't say to my people, we're not going to do this no more because some crazy guy got on here at the end. I don't want to be like that. Yes, you're going to always get those indifferent people. That doesn't mean you throw in the towel. And that was the point I was trying to make to him. Yes. And that's another thing. And I'm glad you brought that up, Heather Gooch. Whenever something's wrong, they always try to lean on us for therapy. They want to come and lean on us when things are wrong, and they want us to comfort them. I won't do that no more, y'all. I won't do that ever again in my lifetime. The way I see it, and you may think it's mean, if we ain't comfortable up in this mug, I don't have to make no damn body else feel comfortable up in here either. So, no, I am not free therapy for them folks. I'm not. I won't even allow it. And when I realize what they're trying to do, I cut it off. I'm like, no, I am not your free therapy. And I got that a lot the last time I was out in corporate America. If something was going on in their life or in their family, they would plop down in the seat and just blurt out everything going on in their life. No, you don't get to come and get free therapy from me. No, no. Mm-mm. And I remember one of my relatives told me whenever things are going well for them, they don't really come to us that much. When things are falling apart in their lives or things are going wrong on a personal level, they tend to come around us a lot more because they are looking for comfort. And being that we are descendants of slaves, our people kind of felt in a position where they had to comfort them. Well, I don't feel that, y'all. I don't feel that kind of connection where I have to comfort them like that. So I'm going to let me I'm going to put the link in. And if you want to talk about your experience or you just want to make a comment, you're more than welcome to come up on the panel. You know, we can't let somebody that have a difference of opinion or they believe in a chart to ruin it for everybody. That is not what I want. I want you all to feel welcomed on my panel. Period. So if you would like to come up and just blow off some steam about this topic, feel free to do it. So, anyway, I hope everybody is enjoying your day. You know, oh, I got somebody. Shalom, Kia.
Hey, Lisa, how you doing, sweetheart?
How you doing, darling? What
Yes,
would
ma'am. Let me turn the TV off so it won't um I won't
okay,
have echoing. Can you hear
okay.
me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Oh, I don't know. I can hear you.
Uh-oh. Let me see. The speaker on.
I can
I
hear
guess it's connected up to the TV. Hold on.
okay.
Oh, you can?
I can
Okay, I'm
hear
gonna have to turn the TV down a little bit
okay.
because it's kind of like echoing. I got it on my phone and it's
Yeah,
echoing a little bit. Can you hear me now? The
I can
speaker
hear you.
on.
Okay, you can speak it whenever you want. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, now I'm sorry, Miss Lisa. Here I am. I had a casting, so how y'all doing, family? Yes, Miss Lisa, and I hope you have a good day today.
So I hope
Besides okay, good.
okay, what would you like to share with us? Is there something you want to say? Maybe we're having some technical issues here.
Um, I was wanting to share that they do want to put they yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
It's kind of got a relay. I'm sorry, it's a relay going on. Let me go ahead and speak so I can get off the.
Okay.
Th- They want to come and tell you their problems, and when you have problems, they want to come talk to you and sit down to you when you don't have nothing going on. And I'm like, I don't want to talk, listen to this. Sometimes I just tell them, you know what to do. And when you tell them the truth, they don't want to listen to you. I say, well, I always give them something from the Bible. I say, they say this has happened on the Bible. I say, you read your Bible?
Mhm.
And they look at you like, no, I don't know that. I say, well, the Bible is a good example of answering your problems, and you want to deal with it because they come and suck the life out of you. And I just like, I can't keep, especially these times, sucking your spirit. They come get your energy
Yes.
and then want to feel better, get that little energy. Though I guess they churches ain't giving it to them like they used to, and they want to come and getting this from the black people. They always go to us first because
Yes.
they know we have the energy.
Yes.
And if you ever notice, I used to work at a high price grocery store. You probably know what it is, Wally World.
Uh-huh.
And whenever you in the store, they follow you around the store,
Mhm.
and You don't even have to be. You could be somewhere where they ain't even there, and then you get there a little bit, they'll be flocking around. I'm like, well, dang, I'd be trying to get over here and get off from over around them because some of them be coughing and everything. You coughing, I don't want to be near you either. When I cough, you don't want to be around us. So, there's stuff going on.
Oh,
But
you know what? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little story. When my son was born, my
oh,
people I worked with wanted to see him. So I took him in. He was still a newborn. I took him in, and one of my coworkers had one of those herpes sore. It was a white woman. She had one of those herpes sores on her lip. And she was like, "Oh, can I kiss the baby?" I said, "No." She later came back to me and told me she was hurt that I would not let her kiss my son. No, you ain't kissing my son with some crap on your lip. Woo, she was outdone that I would not let her put her mouth on my son. Mm-mm-mm.
yeah. I noticed the other day. I noticed the other day. Yep. You noticed something the other day. I went to the college, the last day of college. I noticed something they were doing. They was holding up signs talking about give your mom a hug, give your dad a hug, and these were white people holding signs up. And I figured, why do you want people come up and give them a hug? And I didn't do that. I'm saying they doing something collective energy or something. Why you need a hug?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was out there with French trade. I didn't hug him. Several people came up hug him. I saw one young black boy. I said, poor child, he don't know no better.
yeah,
So I was like, okay, I'm just stay away from me because someone was coughing and stuff. I was like, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
They were trying to get energy. And I
Yeah,
thought that's the first time I ever seen that, especially up there doing that. I say, now, they ain't getting energy from us like they used to do. So
no,
they just holding signs of knowing that black people natures are friendly and they would go hold them and give them a hug. And oh, no, we ain't doing that no more.
yeah.
But
I always like, I'm not obligated to hug you or embrace you. I'm not, nah. And I think sometimes, like I said, because we are the descendants of slaves, I think
yeah,
they have an expectation that we're going to do certain things. And no, no, I mean, no, I don't have to do any of those things. And quite frankly, I just don't like, I don't like them in my space like that.
ah,
Okay, I can't hear you. You sound like you're breaking up.
yes,
Okay, I can hear
yes.
you now.
Okay, Miss Lisa, I'm gonna hang up and let somebody else talk.
All right,
And
thank
that's I'm seeing the stuff that's going on. And okay, can you hear me now?
yes.
Because I just noticed in my neighborhood, I see a lot of them moving in now.
Uh-huh.
This is just echoing so bad. I don't know why.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, you can always come back up at another time when you get it together, but thank you for coming on the panel.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna hang up because we saw it echoing so bad, like a.
Okay. Yeah, no
Yes,
problem.
ma'am. Thank you, Miss Lisa.
Kia for being here. Oops. All right, hold on. Let me get this thing. Uh ADR 2022. Shalom.
Shalom. I want to speak about the school situation
Oh,
because I do have children, but
mhm.
I was also I live in Minnesota. And
Okay.
so, if you know about Minnesota, only really Minneapolis and St. Paul are with Black
Mhm.
people. Everywhere else is kind of not. And my mom moved me up into an area where we were like less than 1% of the population. I went to a high school of 3,000 kids, and maybe 30 were Black
Mhm.
or Asian or something like that. In that school, I had a horrible time. I was bullied, but what really got me was I had a couple of English teachers. They were married to each other,
Mhm.
and then the first English teacher was the woman I had in 10th grade, and we were watching To Kill a Mockingbird. And there was
Mhm.
a kid out there who was being really racist in the class. I came up to the teacher and told her, hey, he's saying some things. We just watched a show about discrimination.
Mhm.
And she sent me out of the class, said I was being a disruption to the classroom because I reported this child being racist.
Mhm. Mhm.
The following time, the year later, I had her husband, and we were reading a play, Streetcar Named Desire.
Mhm.
And I wanted to, we were reading aloud, and I wanted to read one of the characters. And he told me I could not read any of the characters except for the Black maid. And
Wow.
so then I told him I'm not reading it at all, and I didn't. But it just seems like no matter what time we're in, and this was the early 2000s when I graduated from high school, that these people are still going to do this to our children. So,
Yes. Yes, and that's what gets me when they say, "Why do you have to bring it up?" Well, we have to bring it up because it's still happening to us. You can't try to tell us on one hand that um everything shouldn't be about race, but every time we're around you, everything is about that. It's too many mixed messages coming from the same people. And I don't care what anybody say. If something is happening to us in life, we got every right to talk about it without somebody trying to guilt trip us over it. I don't think we wake up with the goal of, being racist or experience it. We wake up with the goal. I mean, let's face it, when you go to work, you just want to go sit down, do your job, and come home. All the extra stuff, we're not on these jobs asking for that to happen. Or where we hear about nooses being hung in the office. Who the hell is going to work asking for a noose to be hung? We don't do that.
right.
We just want to go to work in peace and come home in peace. That's really our goal. All the other stuff that be happening on these jobs, no, we don't be asking for that at all.
Yes. And a lot of the times it's unprovoked. I used to work at a hospital, and I was a nursing assistant at the time. I have a pretty unique name, not very common.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the coworkers I had, she didn't know me. I never met her before. Came up to me, asked me my name. I told her. She's like, "Oh, that doesn't fit what I thought." She said that my name doesn't fit my face, essentially, or
Well,
my
what,
look.
well, what the hell does that mean?
I asked her what name I should have, and she couldn't reply. And then got upset that I posted on social media about somebody telling me that my name doesn't fit me.
Mm-hmm.
She turned it into, oh, I was being aggressive and taking it out of context when she asked me those things.
Okay. Well, taking it out of, well, then what was the proper context then?
I have no idea what
See,
was
when
going
people
through her
tell
head
me
at the
that,
time.
you're taking something out of context, and what would have been the proper context?
Yeah, there's no proper context. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say was pretty much about the schooling situation, that it was happening way back then. It's still happening now. I don't frequent my previous location. I specifically kept my children in majority Black schools because of the experiences I've had.
Right.
And while that's sad because they get underfunded, I'd rather my children come intact with their dignity than the premium education that they so-called want to give us with the better funding in the other schools.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. I mean, we talked about the black and white part of racism. What about somebody like Candace that is in your face saying racism is over? How do you feel about that?
I feel like she's wrong. And being that we're like nearly the same age, me and her, she can't sit there and say that she never saw it, especially since she actually sued
Right.
for
And
it.
the NAACP helping her.
Yeah. So I don't agree with her at all. I kind of look at her as a lost cause, and I used to be kind of a lost cause way back when I had what, because that's all I was surrounded by, but
Mhm.
I've since grown out of that,
Mhm.
and I just I feel like the money for her is too great for her to come out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you notice over the last several weeks, she really has not been in the news, because of all the controversy around her not siding with Israel. So she's not getting the shine that she used to get. And I noticed the last time there were articles on her was like back in the beginning of November.
Right. Well, maybe she finally hit that wall that we all have to hit at some point in time. Those, who feel like, racism is not here or people are over exaggerating. Maybe she hit that critical point. I had to. I hope,
Right. But see,
hopefully
I
she.
think I think that when we have people within that take that position, I think they are equally as damaging to us
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
because the denial can be detrimental, especially to children. So what is she going to do? Send her kids out the front door and say racism don't exist? Okay, so when they have that first experience, don't you think that will damage the kids than if you would have had to talk with them?
True. I actually had to talk with my kids before anything has happened to them, as far as I know.
Right.
They haven't told me, but I want them to make sure that, when they come out into this world, while we are all supposed to be equal, we're not treated as such.
Yes. Yes. Well,
But
thank
thank
you so
you
much.
for having me on. I
Yes.
appreciate your commentary. I haven't been watching you for long, but I
Mhm.
do enjoy it. You
Thank
have
you
a
so
blessed
much.
day.
You too. Gadawan, welcome to the panel.
Hello.
Shalom.
Shalom. How are you today?
All right. What would you like to add to the conversation?
First I want to say thanks for allowing me to come on to the panel. Shalom, shalom to everybody in the chat. Um, when I think about the how people try to want to lean on us for comfort,
Yes.
I can speak from experience because I can't really say where I work now. And I want to, I'm not,
Okay.
because I've been on the civilian sector, the government sector, the county. Just know I work for them folks, and I still do. Um, and they people like on the job like to talk about the Palestine and Israel, and I don't know if people understand like having that person on the job who's a black person and they're considered the good black. I think that's what a lot of people consider me. Uh, Even one guy told me I reminded him of Terry Crews because I'm a big guy and I really didn't like that.
Hmm.
Um, they like to lean on us and like to have this fantasy thing in their mind that racism didn't happen. You know, a lot of things haven't happened to our people, and it's very hard for me to be in that environment. There was a time that I thought I was going to come out of it, but seems like the Most High wanted me to stay there, and I don't have a problem with that. I was ready to be on the corner, not in any camps because some of those camps is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But I was ready to be a soldier. I was ready. But he still has me there for a specific reason. And it might be to be able to see that their bravado isn't there anymore. And I'm telling you, I work close with high officials. The swagger isn't there.
Right.
The energy isn't there. And they can feel it, but they don't know what it is. Like even with these holidays or these heli days, like Big Judah like to say, it's not the same, and they know it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lastly, I don't know if you've seen it, but if anybody hasn't seen this, Leave the World Behind.
Yeah, I've seen
I'm
it.
gonna,
I've
I'm
seen
gonna,
it.
I'm gonna say a spoiler. So prepare yourself. I'm just gonna talk about this first scene because, like, all over social media, everybody is talking about, oh, the conspiracy. What are they gonna do next? But it seems like no one wants to talk about the first scene when them folks are on the beach enjoying their blessing
Mm-hmm.
and the white lion hits the shore.
Yes.
To me, that is a big significance because I don't know who wrote it. I think he's an Indian guy. He's not tied to the government, but I think he does a lot of news stuff and like MSNBC and all that other stuff. And Obama read his book, and I'm like, he put that in there, or even if he didn't know he did, the Most High allowed him to put that part in the book where the white lion hits the shore because the last time the white lion hit the shore, it was for our demise. It
Right.
was for our downfall. But now, when you watch the movie, they're on the beach having a gay old time, as they would say, and the white lion hit the beach, and after that, everything went downhill. I
Yes.
mean, everything. So when I get online, I see everybody talking about this movie. None of them folks are even wanting to say anything about that because they went to Point Comfort. And we know Point Comfort, that's in VA. I used
Yeah.
to be there. I visited that place before,
Mm-hmm.
where the so called slavery kicked off. So, out of all these conspiracy theorists and people, they don't want to talk about that. They want us to continue to make them feel okay and make them feel like everything's hunky dory. And they want us to be that good black Terry Crews, Candace Owen. But I know it deep in heart I'm not, and I have to really watch my character because I do want to come out, you know, sword blazing and telling them. But then I have to understand it was our ancestors that kind of got us in this situation.
Right.
But it is what it is.
But
We can see it, we can feel it. Go ahead.
this is how it made me feel. It's one thing if a person wants to lean on your shoulder and they want advice or they want comfort. The part I did not like is once they start feeling good again, you became wallpaper.
Yep.
That's the part I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's going to be like that, I would rather for you not to approach me at all. That was my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm having these problems, or this is falling apart, or that's a fall, or this boss and I aren't getting along, and they're boo-hooing and leaning on my shoulder. And then once everything seems to work its way out, and I'm out and about, and I see you walking, you barely lift your head up to speak. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I don't like.
They're on
That's
code.
what I don't like.
They're on code. They're on code. And one last thing before I go,
Mhm.
I think I seen you report it talking about the reparations, and it says only 18% of them folks. I got to, I know they been watching this. They only believe 18% of believe we should are entitled to reparations. No
Right.
crime bill. I love your points. No, none of the Black Caucus. Nobody wants to talk about this. But
No.
18%. That
Yes.
means for every 50 white Americans, only 9 of them agree that we should have it. That's a lot of people.
Right.
That's a lot of people. So the next time they want to comfort or lean a shoulder to lean on, just remember that, brothers and sisters. Only 9 out of 50. That means and people who you're close to too. They ask them. I've even tried to bring it up on my job, like inadvertently at work, and they're like, "Oh, that happened a long time ago." And so that's how I know how to keep them at arm's distance. Like, we
Right.
built your economy, the whole economy, not just in America, but all the Western descendants of Rome.
Exactly. Back then, it
We
was
built it.
exactly. That's why if you go in history and look back, it was called the slave economy because the
Wow.
entire economy was fueled by slavery. You go
I didn't know that one.
just go in, go anywhere, Google, and just type slave economy. That's where the entire economy kickstarted from.
Well, I guess they think they can, build it on bloodshed. They don't think there's going to be any repercussions. But shalom to you and everybody in the chat.
Oh,
Get out of the way, let
absolutely.
somebody else come on.
All right. Thank you for coming up to the panel. I deeply appreciate your opinion.
Be blessed, y'all.
Brucci, shalom.
Shalom, Lisa. How are you?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Doing wonderful.
What would you like to say?
Yes, thank you for putting this live up. This
Mhm,
was very fitting for today. Um I I normally am in the backgrounds listening to you, and I've been listening to you for some time now. Ever since you were speaking about some of the deaths that were happening with some of the PC women, um, probably about 10 years ago or so.
mhm.
I've been listening to you for a long time, but I'm more the type that I just, just sit in the backgrounds and just kind of absorb everything. But
Yeah.
yes, great information. Um, I would like to, just share about how, it is out here in society, and how everything has kind of changed since 2019.
Mhm.
Um, Ever since then, you kind of saw a certain stability then. And after 2019, especially that date that we all held dear to, you kind of notice where all of that kind of stopped, and everything has just kind of been going a little more and more haywire, and a little more and more haywire. Kind of reminded me of scripture in Revelations when it talks about the birth pangs of of distress,
Mhm.
and how it starts off, small and spread apart, but the closer that it gets to that delivery point, it's going to get closer and closer and more severe. So, I'm just kind of sitting back in anticipation, like for that. And, because I know the Most High, He really has something in store for us, and, these times right now with the influx of the illegals coming over the border, and, these people playing dumb with our reparations and everything, it can seem daunting, but
Yes.
um, it can also be encouraging as well, because we know that this may seem to be a display of power, but it's also damage control.
Mhm.
People trying to save face, stubborn, and they are really caught up in their own pride. And just like scripture says, pride comes before a fall. So
Right.
I this is how I choose to look at it in these days, and just stand on faith. Um,
Oh yeah,
so
I agree. I definitely agree with that. You
so
know.
yeah, yeah. I just I just like to give encouraging words for my people, my fellow believers in these times. I I love scripture, but I can't say that I've been called to preach. So, until my time comes, I'll just be in the background, just absorbing, encouraging, absorbing scripture, and understanding and knowledge and so forth until it is my time. But,
Mhm.
I'm just a soldier at arms at this point, you
Amen.
know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. But I won't waste too much more of your time. I'll let somebody get up and say what they have to say.
Okay,
Shalom, Lisa.
thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Dark skinned brother. Shalom.
Shalom, Lisa, my warrior sister.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Okay. So what would you like to say?
Yeah, I actually got three different stories, but
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make it quick. The first one, yeah, the first one, I was like 6 years old, and we was out trick or treating, something we shouldn't have been doing anyway. But we went to this old white lady house, and she was like, she gave my cousin, she was a female, some candy, and so she looked at me and my baby brother. She was like, "Y'all need to go back to your own neighborhood." So, we were left scratching our head like, why she said that? So we went back, told out my auntie, and my auntie, you know what I'm saying, believe she wanted to go and do something to the woman, but we was like, just let it go. But the second story, I was in the military at the airport, and so the military had messed up my ticket, and I found this white and I run across a white cop that was in the mall. I mean, not in the mall, but the airport. And he was like, I thought I explained to him what had happened. He was like, "That's your problem," and just walked out. You know what I'm saying? He was looking for me to get smiled with him so he can try to come throw the cuss on me. So
Yeah.
I just let it go. And, and the last story that I wanted to tell you about was this lady. She had a for sale sign up for. She was selling. I think they were like some brown or Doberman puppies. And she was like, I was like, man, how much are your puppies? She like, they're not for sale. You know, so I all grabbed it like and just walked out. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing I noticed over the years, even when I was a child, some of them will try to size you up and they treat you like you're a threat when you're not being a threat at all.
Right,
But they get aggressive and it's like, okay, well, what's going on that's causing you to act this way? It's as bad as when you walk past and all of a sudden they lock the door and you ain't
right,
thinking about them. You ain't thinking
exactly.
about them.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
actually kind of funny to me though to
Yeah.
see how.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but on the other hand, it's not,
Right,
especially when they get you caught up with the law over some misconception they have in their head because you are a black male,
exactly.
because then that's a threat on your life.
Right, and and in military too, I have experienced the same thing
Hmm.
with them not wanting to give us rank.
Years ago, I remember one of my cousins was in the military and he had a friend, and his friend was, I believe this dude was Puerto Rican. And he told him, he said, "You know what? The best soldiers in the army are the black guys." And he said, when they would be out there, he said the black guys used to know how to break down the weapon, clean the
Mm,
weapon, put the weapon back together the fastest. And he said, even when they would run and they would have PE and they would be out there running, he said the black guys always came in first.
right.
And he said, but the white guys who were slower, they got all the promotions.
Because I could put a 50 cal. Right, I could put a 50 cal together like that, bust it down, and them other folks sergeants over me, they'd be standing there just looking, scratching their head, like, how you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how you in the military and you're almost an officer and you don't even know how to put a weapon back together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I had got learned so much stuff, Lisa. I was mounting a 50 cal, and that thing ain't easy to mount on no vehicle by myself.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. I've had jobs, dark skinned brother, that I did when I left. I found
Mm,
out they hired 2 people to do a job that I did all by myself.
mm. Yeah, I can believe it.
Mhm. Yeah, and
But
that's happened before to
but
me.
they supposed to be high IQ.
Yes. Yes. And that's happened to me more than once. Actually, when I was in the position, I was
Mm,
handling everything all by myself. When I left, they had to hire 2 people and split the one job I did among 2 people, you know? And it was a job I was never overwhelmed by. I was just able to keep everything organized well enough where I could just do the job every day.
right, we the best at everything.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you remember the video Al Sharpton and him they signed this little style tank bill in New York. So I made a comment to that video. I was like, man, y'all better cut the shit or we ain't voting. So some idiot came over and was like, ain't y'all getting welfare? That's your reparation right there. Man, I had to catch myself.
Well, no, welfare is not reparations because everybody gets welfare.
Right,
So that can't be reparations. In fact, white people, we know white people get the most welfare. We know
right,
these Mexicans when they come over here, a lot of these immigrants are on welfare. All right.
right.
And that's been the biggest con ever, trying to make us believe we're the biggest recipients. We have never been the biggest recipients in this
Exactly.
country. In fact, the whole concept of welfare was really designed for white women. It was not for us. From
Exactly.
yeah, so that's another lie that has been out there forever.
Hmm. But they time coming to an end though. And,
Well, yeah,
hmm.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that misconception was out there even when I was a child. I remember them saying, "Black people are the ones on welfare." No, we're not. Look, I grew up in a black family. At no point in time was my parents had us on welfare. My dad always had a job. My mother had a job. We were never on welfare. I grew up and never had spent a day on welfare.
Right.
So when they say that is your reparations, that is nobody's reparations.
Yeah, they
That goes to everybody. That's not any that ain't no reparations. And then I heard also dark skinned brother, oh well, Obama was your reparations. Well,
yeah, I heard that too.
a human being can't be reparations. Okay. A
Exactly.
human being can't be reparations.
Yeah.
So
It,
that's stupid.
at this point, Lisa, yeah, some of the stuff they say is laughable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. A person cannot be reparations. That's just stupid altogether.
Right. But I wonder. Yeah, but next time you do your current event, I'm gonna come up so we can talk a little more though. I don't want to hold the other people from getting on though. But I enjoy talking to you though, Lisa,
I
and love
enjoyed
you,
talking
Queen.
to you too. And thank you for your donation and your support. You
Oh,
know,
you're more than welcome, sister.
you have always been a steady supporter of this channel, and I deeply appreciate that.
Oh, you welcome.
You have the yeah,
All
enjoy
right,
the
Lisa,
rest.
stay blessed, man.
Yes.
All right.
Shalom, brother. All right, y'all. Is there anyone else that want to come on the panel? I'm putting the link in the chat again. If anybody else want to come and talk on the panel. Well, yeah, our reparations, you can tell it's getting to them, y'all, because I remember years ago, whenever we would talk about reparations, they would immediately try to shut it down. But I think now they realize they can't shut it down like they used to. And so it's bothering them. That's why they're saying the silly stuff to you like welfare is your um reparations or Obama's your reparation. What I mean, they really don't have much to go on. And the vast majority of the black community is gainfully employed or retired. The vast majority of us are not on welfare like that. Okay, Mike C, I just saw you and then you disappeared. You can try to come on again if you like. Thank you for the super sticker. Support the arts. Thank you. Yeah. So, I don't give that much thought when they say that because it sounds ridiculous. When you gave reparations to anyone else, you didn't tell them they already got reparations. And you can tell what they're saying is rooted in racism. Did you tell the natives they already got reparations because they had access to welfare? No, you don't say that to any other group but us. So, what are you trying to say? There's no poor natives in this country? They look awfully poor on them reservations to me. they, many of them look very poor on those reservations. Hmm. Well, Obama didn't even do anything for us. He did for everybody but us. So there's no way he can be some reparations. But, yeah, we know the ridiculous things that are said. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And if you got to tell somebody they already got something and they know they never got it, right there, what you're saying is a load of BS. If we already got reparations, all of us would be fully aware of it. Period. Rafaya Gadawan, thank you so much for the super chat. Remember the last empire that didn't want to give us reparations, the Most High destroyed Egypt and made them give it to us. Yes. And that same thing is going to be done here. They're going to have to give it whether they like it or not. Remember, when we leave, we're leaving with great substance. Okay. So we're not leaving out of here empty handed. All right. And being that you brought up Egypt, wouldn't that also mean that reparations is also in the Bible? Okay, if we walked away with all the wealth out of Egypt, that means reparations is even in the Bible. I'm just saying. All right. Let me just put that in one more time. Yes. And so the Most High is even letting us know we are not leaving out of here empty-handed. We will not be left with nothing. That ain't happening. Shalom, Mike C.
Oh, shalom, Miss Lisa. Miss
How
Lisa
are you?
C, I should say.
Yeah,
Fine, and you?
yeah, I'm all right. What would you like
Man,
to say?
I felt so embarrassed yesterday. That clown, he was on yesterday talking about Issachar to you. I just
Yes,
want to jump through my phone and like choke him. It's like, man, and he was like justifying this open border stuff. So I was like,
yes,
wow, I
yes.
couldn't believe
Well,
it.
I'm not. You know what, Mike C, I have come across others like that. He's
Really?
not the first one. I have come across others that they literally swear by that chart
Exactly. Yeah.
and they will defend that chart and they really couldn't break it down like that. And a lot of these lighter shade Latinos that you see coming out of South America, they'll
Yeah.
even tell you they're the offspring of the conquistadors.
Exactly.
They'll
And
even tell you themselves.
do the a lot of people like Big Judah. I'm in Southern California, like
Yes.
this. And one thing I like about him, you can tell he's genuine because he never pushes any doctrine on. He always says, Miss Lisa, go study it, go look for yourself.
Yeah.
You got study to show thyself approved. And
Mm-hmm.
he always tells you to go. And a lot of stuff, because I was a history buff when I was in school and in college. I didn't major in history though in college, but that's a story for another day. But I always do my research because I like to know what I'm talking about before I start talking. And sometimes you can learn a lot more by listening than talking.
Absolutely.
And he always tells you, go, don't believe what I say, go look this, and this up. And 99.9% of the time, that man pretty much, he knew what he was talking about. And stuff is these heathens, they place stuff in books. One thing I learned about them, they're not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but they keep meticulous records. They
Yes, they
keep
do.
records of everything. They might hide them, like in business class when I was in college, it was 2 sets of books. It was my books, and then it was the books for the public. So
Mm-hmm.
they're just real conniving like that. And that clown yesterday, he was low key trying to agree with you. Then he'd jump, and I'm like, man, this dude is all over the place, and he's
Yeah. Yeah.
talking
And
crazy.
and think about it. And I'm glad Rosalind brought this up. She said, the Nazis were down there in South America. If they were
Exactly.
real Israelites, would real Israelites be down there keeping Nazis safe?
Exactly.
You can just see in the actions, in the history, that
Mm-hmm.
it is just no way all of these people can be Issachar. And remember,
Exactly.
we're a scattered people. So
4
how
corners.
does it make sense that all of South America on that one continent is all Issachar? Then that's not scattered. So now
Exactly.
what you're now saying is against what the even what the Bible says about the 12 tribes.
Mm-hmm. And you showed pictures of some of the Venezuelans that look like
Yeah,
us.
the Afro-Venezuelans, yes.
Exactly. And do
Mhm.
you know in Brazil, there are more black people in Brazil than there are in the United States. But
Yes,
they don't
80% of Brazil is black. You're
right.
absolutely right.
And they don't tell you that, but
No,
they don't allow them to come over here.
no.
So,
And the thing is, a lot of slaves were taken down to South America. That's why it looks the way that it
exactly.
does. And you got Afro-Colombians,
Hmm.
Afro-Venezuelans, Afro-Brazilians. That's why those people are down there. They are
Exactly.
the direct descendants of those slaves that were sent down there.
And it's more of them that during the transatlantic slave trade that were sent down there that came to the United States and the Caribbean. You
Yes, and
see?
if you remember at one point in time, even here in the US, our forefathers outnumbered these white folks at one
Exactly.
point in time during chattel slavery.
Exactly. That goes. That's I always say ever since I was little, 13%, 13%. So I
Yes.
started researching on that, and you know where that comes from, right? That comes
Mhm.
from the 13 colonies because there were
Yes.
slaves in all 13 colonies. But see, these folks, they try to, oh, you're African American. You're on my birth certificate because I was born in the South. It
Mhm.
says Negro. Okay, it was Negro. Well, excuse me, colored
Right.
Negro. African American. Which that was a term that Jesse Jackson gave us. But what they don't tell you, we were already here before Columbus came
Right.
because he brung people that spoke. I think Estevanico, Vespucci da Gama. I forget the Juan Gerardo. A lot
Right.
of these cats they spoke Hebrew. So
Right. And when Ben Franklin made a couple of trips to the Americas.
right.
And when he described what he described dark-skinned people,
Exactly.
woolly hair,
Hmm.
dark-skinned
Exactly.
people in the land that he was describing as the Indians.
Hmm. And it's this lady. I think her name is Tasha X or something. She's
Mhm.
real like in deep with the native, because these red Indians and the so-called $5 Indians, she bases her stuff. on all the Omex and I think the Pyrpex or Pyrchex, they were
Mhm.
already here before,
Yeah,
like I said, before Columbus washed up. And Columbus didn't. He went to the Caribbean, what is it, Hispaniola, before he came to the United States. So,
right.
I just, these folks, they know better than we do. They're not going to tell us, but they know they're pretty much done because the times of the Gentile is being fulfilled right before our eyes.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Another thing everybody can look up, the song 10 Little Indians. Y'all heard
Yeah.
that, right? The original lyrics to that song was 10 little N words.
Yeah.
That was
Yep.
the original song, and then
hmm
they later changed it to 10 Little Indians.
You could go on YouTube and he makes a joke about it. Paul Mooney. He talks
Mhm.
about that and he's like, what happened to these people, they hide stuff in books and they hide stuff all over the place, and they're real good at stealing people's identities, if you notice that.
Absolutely.
Because out here, like the white Latinos out here in Southern California, they'll be like just like Ken and Karen looking, and they'll have like a Spanish surname, and
Mhm.
then you'll see some of them. Well, I don't know if it's because of marriage, but you'll see some of them with Asian names. It's like these people are like just Doomians. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yes.
I don't know, but they know what's going on with them. And you did a story a long time ago during the CV era, and
Mhm.
you showed an obituary chart in California, and
Yes.
the hospital. My son was born at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, California, and that hospital, the military was there because they were being overrun with COVID cases. But that being said, you did one on that, and then you did one on the obituaries, and you showed all the pictures, and I think it was two people that was melanated in that
Yes.
picture.
You
And
know,
I
it
was
was
like,
like that. It was like that in the weekly in our newspaper here in New
exactly.
Jersey where I am. Every time you opened up the obituary, you would see a sea of their faces, and you could count our people on one hand.
Yeah, no, the
And
one
and it
you
would
did,
tell you right there that they succumbed to, CV, or they died due to complications of it. So they would
exactly.
tell you what they died of.
Right, but the one you did in California, it was a one black woman and a black man, but they didn't have a picture of him. And the
Right.
black woman, I remember she was specifically from Oakland, and the
Mhm.
rest were just like, it's like, we're not dying. I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe it was some kind of, something going on, as far, but they hype this stuff up. And when they would put the little TikTok, well, not the TikTok, but the counter on how many people are dying on scene, that was like just, that was vile and vicious. That was just meant to scare people. So I was like, wow,
But
these,
but
go ahead.
yeah, yeah, but one thing I noticed when it came out that America was last in the world with dealing with CV, you
hmm
notice how fast they even got to talk about us having it the most all out of the news?
Right, right.
It's like they got it all
That
out of the news all at once.
that was funny. But if you notice too, at first when it started off, it was elderly people
Yes,
are passing. Now they flipped. Oh well, black people, they're suffering. They have, and these folks is like, okay, you hate us, but you want to give us something to save our life. Okay, that's a whole nother story for another day. But my thing was how the media was just and then after a while, you like, man, is this a script? Because you turn to every like MSNBC, CNN, Fox, whatever, all the major outlets, and their narrative was similar, and
yeah.
it's like they were pushing something, but they weren't pushing something, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So I just was like, man, I couldn't. But we're in the end times. A lot
Yes,
of
we
people don't
certainly
know that,
are.
and
Yeah, we are.
these people are desperate. I mean, if it's not funny, okay, because we all know the ending of the story, and they're like reaching like bad. It's like you want us to intervene, you hate us. Me personally, if I dislike you, I don't want to be around you, let alone talk to you. You know
Right.
that old saying, out of sight, out of mind. But these people hate us. They want to be around us. Oh, what's your Miss Lisa? What's your opinion on this? Oh, I know I tried to sue you 2 weeks ago, but we really need your opinion. You know, it's just the delusion. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
what gets me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but
I mean, and yeah, it's like the opinion on the war. And they are outdone that we won't come out strong and take a side. And the bottom line is, what was our relationship like just before the war?
yeah, exactly,
Really, what was our relationship like before the war? I don't know why you think we should be deeply involved,
exactly,
you
and
know?
all these folks, they just, it's like, man, okay, go do you. Just, we can't. All we want is peace. I
Yes.
don't, subscribe, because when I came into the truth about like 2015, and it was around October, like right before Thanksgiving. And
Hmm.
I always wanted to know, why are people getting ginned up for these holidays? Because I was working a lot of overtime back then, and well, I still pretty much work too, a lot of overtime now. But it's like these folks were, okay. Miss Lisa, we have to get ready for the holidays. We have to. I'm like, well, shouldn't it be, if you want to do the holidays? Shouldn't it be optional if you want to do the holidays?
Right.
They're like forcing this stuff on you, and when I got out of school a while ago, it was like, why do and these people, they constantly think about us. It's like I could, like, if I'm tired, I'm going to bed. I'm not thinking about them folks.
Right.
These people, like, it seemed to me, they thought about us 24/7. You think about us 24/7, but you hate us.
Right.
Okay, you hate. It's just the oxymoron. You hate us, but you think about us 24/7. So I got to researching and digging and digging. Like I said, I was a history buff, and the Ottoman Turks and all that stuff in Europe and what went down in these people. And these people are just, man, they were horrible to their own people. So it's
Yes.
like, why would we, the Most High did what he said he was going to do to us. Because, like I said, when I came into the truth, I was mad at the Most High for, like, well, if we're your people, why would you treat us like this? But,
Mhm.
you read the Bible, you got to obey the law, statutes, and commandments, and you see why. So my thing is, like, these people know what's coming. They're not going to tell me and you, but
Right.
they know what's coming. So
Mhm.
if he did this to his people, if I was them, I'd be going crazy too, just to be honest with
Oh, yeah, I mean, look at what we have gone through for centuries. Now, in the Bible, it says they get double. I can't
you.
imagine
Exactly.
having all this stuff double. Oh, hell no.
The alligator bait and all that is like, man, you can't make this stuff up. And you're
Yeah.
right. I would literally be like paranoid, because
Mhm.
these people will even will say, look, we're going to get reparations. I'm not even worried about it. They, like you said earlier, they can't shut it down. They used to be able to, but it tells you in the scripture, we're going to get it regardless. So my
Yes,
thing is, how can you give us something that's already ours? So
exactly.
I don't lose no sleep over that. But these folks, they just, man, I don't know where they going to turn, but I know they're supposed to cleave in the end days, but I, you know, I, I've never been in one of those camps. Sometimes I go and listen to them, and I donate or something or whatnot. But it's these people they're done and they know it, and it's like they want us to do something. So I'm at a point where I know what I got to do as a Hebrew person, a male, and I don't really, I don't know. I don't hate them because I know who they are.
Mhm.
And it's like, I hate, it takes too much energy for hate, but
Mhm.
it's sort of not conflicting to me. But when you know pretty much the demise and their end, and sometimes you get and you're feeling some type of way, like, come on, Most High, hurry, speed up the process, even though time has sped up. But this situation, this country is it's horrible for what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. It's horrible because the people on the top, and the Most High, one thing he has showed us is I put people over you that ain't even fit to lead.
Exactly.
So
Well,
now you're going to either learn from this or you won't. Okay. And many of us are getting it. We are learning,
but
you
he
know?
said he was going to send us to a sottish people,
Yes.
so.
Put a foolish nation over us, and yeah, they
Exactly.
are definitely that.
Because this Joe Biden is like, man, I've been in California all my life. I think we moved out here when I was like 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And that crime bill that he did, the 3 strikes, that was horrible. In California, they were just, rounding people. Like, say I would go visit a friend and he was probably like, dealing drugs or doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if I'm in that house, maybe I'm coming from work to visit. They would take me to jail too if I was caught up in that. And
Yeah.
then
I remember when it was going on. And
exactly, I lived through it.
I was born in the city of Philadelphia. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the news that we get, because I'm on the side that's close to Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they would go and raid a home.
Exactly.
If your grandmama was just upstairs sleep and she was not even touching any crack, they arrested everybody in
Mm-hmm.
the home. And if
Exactly.
you had pets in your home, they shot them in the head.
Mm-hmm.
And they took and arrested everybody. It didn't matter
Exactly.
whether it was adults in the house that was not even touching drugs. It didn't matter. Everybody went to jail. But
Mm-hmm.
see, when opioids happen, and all of a sudden they got all brand new, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
a crime, and nobody should go to jail. It's a public health issue. And you want us to have sympathy after what you put us through?
And they're not even helping their own people. It's like they're the type of people where they'll see a problem, okay, and it'll get worse, worse, and worse. We'll like, well, we got to do something about this. These folks will ignore it.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll go away, Lisa. Don't worry about it. It doesn't concern you. It'll go away.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are just, man, you go down to downtown LA, I'm telling you, it looks like a third world country. LA is like, it's like
Mm-hmm.
now they're moving like closer to up to Wilshire, the little line, the imaginary wealth line. If you live above Wilshire, you getting into Beverly Hills, you have, you well to do. And it's getting up in there. And these people are getting, oh, well, you got to do something about the homeless and all this. Meanwhile, they're important people in here. And it's getting worse in LA. It's like California. And like I said, a lot of us are leaving. But going back to that Joe Biden crime bill, in California in the 80s and the 90s, well, the 90s, late 80s, mid 90s, brothers it would be like 3 strikes. So they'll say, okay, I got my second strike. I got to move out of California. Do you know I forget who the governor, I think it was Pete Wilson at the time. He
Mm-hmm.
was saying, well, Michael, if you leave out of California and you got 2 strikes. You're taking those strikes with you. So other states like southern states were trying to pass legislation because a lot of us were leaving California and going to southern states. If you have 2 strikes, you take them with you. You commit something down there, that's your third strike. This Joe Biden was hideous, and he was on tape. He was saying we don't need another. They took it off YouTube. They scrubbed it. We don't need another big shot, in shot, mayor. He literally said that. He's
Yeah.
on tape
Yeah, I
saying
know.
that.
Oh yeah.
And this guy is just, see, he did all that. My point, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna leave it alone. But my point, he did all this. He did, and now this is how the Most High work. Now his son is a crackhead. You're
Yes.
pushing these crack laws,
Mm-hmm.
lock them up, throw away the key. I don't want my kids be around the
And
concrete.
the thing is, you see the hypocrisy in that too. His
Mm-hmm.
son is a crackhead, but
Exactly.
you notice how he's never had to go to jail for it.
Well, this is their kingdom.
But
So
but in his crime bill, he wanted those very same people on crack to be rounded up and jailed.
exactly.
His son is on there and he's fighting like hell to keep his son out of trouble.
And not only that, he's a president now, and you notice how their kingdom is just slowly slipping away, just like you were talking about earlier with the movie Leave the World Behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just judgment's coming. We just gotta stay prayed up and just, like I said, be aware of your surroundings, do what you gotta do, and just mainly, it's harsh, but stay away from these folks. I mean,
Yeah.
because a lot of them, they would turn, you could be, if you watched in that movie, the guy, when he went to get the medicine, the brother went to get the medicine with the boy and his father, and Kevin Bacon came out on the steps with his gun.
Yeah, I saw
Now,
that part. Mm-hmm.
now this man, spoiler alert, excuse me, worked on the guys. He was the contractor that the guy was talking about that worked on his house. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? You see how these folks are, and it's just it's horrible, man. For what's to come, I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm gonna work out with praying, and trembling, and just staying humble and staying in the word and just doing my due diligence. Other than that, that's pretty much all you can do. So,
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And thank
mhm.
you so much for being on the panel. I do appreciate you.
And thank you. And I left a comment a while back. I said, thank you for being an asset to our community, not a liability, especially in the Hebrew community. So thank you for all.
Thank you.
All right.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom. Bye.
LS, how are you? Shalom.
Lisa, it is so great to speak to you. Shalom to you, the chat. Thank you, Lord, for letting us see another day.
Yes.
He ain't had to wake us up, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm so impressed by you, Lisa. I can't even tell you. I'm glad you cracked the seal on what I was gonna say. I ain't want to be the first to say it
Mm-hmm.
about Obama, but him putting his name on that movie to make it seem more real is like what you said, what a lot of us know and understand. He didn't do anything for us when he was the president.
No, he didn't.
Not
Mm-mm.
one thing. I've talked to older people. I'm 50. I've talked to older people and I asked them, tell me one thing he did for us. And more times than not, the response I get is he did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I get that too. But to
Isn't that
me,
crazy?
you can say he did a lot of stuff, but then you can't describe what he did.
Yeah,
You
yes,
know?
yes. Yeah, I say, okay, great, he did a lot of stuff. Name one. One. Not, a lot of stuff. Just give me one.
Yes.
And so with him putting his name on it, I watched half the movie. I watched more commentary about the movie than actually watching the movie because about halfway through I just turned it off. I haven't gone back to it because they trivialize conspiracies, they trivialize racism,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, they have these passive aggressive scenes that have no substance to the plot, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
And oh my goodness, it is absolutely wicked, and it's most disappointing because he looks like us. And for the others that look like us who betray us.
All the time. And that's the sad part. I think, we do prepare, like our children, for example, for racism, but
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
also need to be preparing them for the sellouts they're going to encounter too.
Absolutely.
We absolutely can't leave that out.
Mm-mm. No, we can't. As a matter of fact, I tell my children when it comes to those people, when you run into racism, understand it's not you, it's them.
Mm-hmm.
It's them that has the issue because there's nothing about you that you can change to appease them as if you should. So, you know, it's super wicked. And when it comes to the situation that's happening over there in the land, air quotes, um, I believe they are the ones who are the progenitors of the racism that
Mm-hmm.
divides, and they use it to divide and conquer because
Right.
you can't call them white. I mean, no, you can, but if you do, you know, their response is, "Well, I'm not white." Okay, well, are you black? And
Mm-hmm.
then it's obvious what that answer is, but yet and still they want to claim what belongs to those who truly believe what's in the word for themselves and label themselves as God's chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm supposed to honor that. Well, if I honor that, then I'm defining myself as not chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not happening.
Right.
That that's not happening for my family. That's not happening for me. That's not happening for those who actually believe what God has said about those who believe him and his word.
Right. You know, that's why, in a way, brother, I'm glad all that stuff happened with Kyrie Irving,
Hmm. Hmm.
because we came out at that time in a strong way saying who we are.
Yes.
They were so overwhelmed by it. The only thing they could really do is try to shut it down. Go to Amazon, try to get it taken, try to run Ronald Dalton Jr. off, try to chastise Kyrie. But was those things really truly effective?
Look, I mean,
No,
Kyrie didn't even make a comment, Lisa.
no, he just
He
posted
just
a link.
he posted a link,
Yes,
a link,
yes.
and it caused a, okay, I'm trying not to curse. It caused a storm.
Yeah.
It caused an absolute storm, and I'm proud of INIC for showing up and marching around the Barclays Center and showing those, I call them Hava Nagilas,
Mm-hmm.
with their little hats, and made them stay on the bus and go uptown someplace else to do a semi demonstration. But y- y- they showed us what their power is by getting those seats courtside and all of them wearing those t-shirts.
Right. But did any of those things diminish us saying that we are the people?
Oh no, absolutely not.
That's
And
my
and
point. And they know
and
it. They know it.
oh
They
yeah,
know
and
it pisses them off.
that's why they tried to, you know, stop. They tried to stop talking about it because they wanted that part to not be expressed to everyone. So other people, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the videos where there are white people saying, "Oh well, no, they are those the people right there.
Yeah.
Those the people right
And it
there."
started, they actually start doing it again when the war jumped off over there, because people were online saying, well, what are you both fighting over? The land don't belong to either one of you. And it wasn't
Hmm.
us saying it. It was people that looked just like them saying it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, they 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 expose themselves so much. You
Mhm.
know, the word says Israelites, the children of Israel. Well, these people call themselves Israelis.
Right. And the word Israeli is not in the Bible. The
Sure
word
isn't.
Jewish is not in the Bible. So if you are really the chosen people, why are you referring to yourself as things that are not biblical?
I had the opportunity to speak to someone named David Rubin. He's a former mayor of Shiloh, Israel, and I asked him, you know, what what is an Israelite? That's all I asked him. Well, I asked him a little bit more, but I wasn't able to, follow up my questions. But I asked him, what is an Israelite? And he said, well, that's a term used in biblical times. By then they had hung up and got me off the phone. But well, biblical times haven't stopped. What are you talking about?
Right.
So, and then after they got me off the phone and he made that comment, he said to the host, as you know, Jim, anti-Semitism is rising. So you slick calling me an anti-Semite because I asked you a question about what is an Israelite that you
Well,
didn't answer honestly?
right. Well, that's why I kept saying we are of Shem. So if we are of Shem, then we can't be against ourselves. How can we be anti something and we are the children of Shem? And
And that,
what they do is disregard what you said and just continue to call you anti-Semitic. I know that I caught on to that move real fast.
yeah, I give them this. They are master manipulators.
Yeah,
And
but
the
you know
people,
what? I want you to keep one thing in mind. They absolutely are. But is the manipulation working?
oh yeah, look, for those of us who have our eyes open, absolutely not. I'm
Right.
just saying it in the sense of what, and I'm not supporting any of this. Don't get it mistaken. I'm just stating how I see it unfolding. That they have this way of, and it may be because all of them are white, and they play on that for the other side to for them to support what is happening there. And it didn't start in 1948. That
Mhm.
was when the UN decided, not the Lord. The Lord made Israel, and Israel is the people. If I'm not
Right.
mistaken, Moses was leading the Israelites to the promised land. He wasn't leading them to Israel.
Right.
And so they have a way of manipulating, which doesn't work on those who know what the truth is, but yet and still, and it may be because they control the media and they can, call me whatever name they wish. But that would be why Kyrie said, well, I know who I am.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
they
mean, I know who I am, you know, and the bottom line is I notice every time they raise their voices around that time, if you remember, the documentary was going through the roof. And it
yes.
was not just us, it was global. It was people from all over the globe trying to access that documentary.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
more they kept complaining about it, the more the sales went through the roof. And I
Yes.
said, wow, something is actually changing right now. Things are, people are like, okay, what are y'all upset about? I got to get my hands on that documentary. That's how people were reacting.
Because it's exposure season. you know, I mean, the Lord has been exposing, throughout time. So I'm not saying that in the sense of, it just started. It's been turned up.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where I think the dial is about to break. I mean, you see what's happening with TD fakes. That's with an F,
Mm-hmm.
fakes. And you see these things happening, and the Lord is letting us know, uh, Israel asked for Saul.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said, "Hey, that's what you want. I'm going to let you have it." And we're in that situation again where we have to choose. A conversation I had with my mother, years ago before she passed. This, as a matter of fact, it was when Bush and Gore were running, and she asked me what I was I going to vote. Now, I've never voted, not one
Uh-huh.
time. And the one time I was going to was when Cynthia McKinney ran. But when I got the ballot here in Georgia, where she born and raised, her name wasn't on the ballot. And I knew then to continue as I always had done before, not to vote. But my mother asked me, well, are you going to vote? I said, you know, I mean, you want me to choose between bad and worse?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, people died for you to vote. I said, yeah, but they didn't die for me to choose between bad and worse. They didn't
Right.
they didn't die for that.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore I've been on jury duty, and I've sat in there and watched what you and the brother before were talking about, what would happen in Philadelphia on the three strikes. The particular federal case I was on, it involved conspiracy. There was a brother, and it wasn't drug related. It was white collar crimes. But what I was trying to get the jury to understand was, he's being charged with conspiracy. Now, I can, Lisa, I can conspire to make $1 million. But
Mm-hmm.
if I don't actually follow through, I don't get the $1 million. So what is conspiracy?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? When it comes to manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
these are
And,
the
and
things that
and
they use.
the whole
Go ahead.
creation of that land of Israel is all man created.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all man created.
That's why they built that Suez Canal to try and separate it from Africa,
Yeah.
so they can act like, yeah, this is ours. It's not a part of that. And now
Yeah.
they want to drive the people that are there into the ocean. But if you
Right.
say that about them, oh, it's the worst thing ever. How dare you?
Yeah, and the thing is, the Balfour Declaration, I have yet to
Yes.
see it in any hidden book or the Bible or the Torah. I don't see it in the Torah either. There is no Balfour Declaration in there,
Absolutely.
you know? Yeah, it's a lot of discrepancies,
Yeah.
but I guess we're supposed to blatantly just ignore it.
Oh,
No.
that's what they want us to do. They want us to remain blind and, just sit down and take it. And when it comes to reparations, I had I know some white people, and I was talking to them about reparations, and they said, well, well, how would we, pay it? How would we, figure out who should get it?
It
I
would
looked
it
at
would
them.
come from the government.
Look, I
It would
looked at
come
them.
from the government. That's where all the reparations came from. White
Yes,
people didn't dig in their pocket for nary reparation to this very day. It all comes from the government.
absolutely. Look, I told them dead to their face. I said, okay, so my last name is Stanley. I asked him, I said, look at me. Do you really think my last name is Stanley? Or was that given to me? I mean, we can start there.
Mhm.
Because any black person in America that doesn't have we'll just say indigenous name, whether it be from Africa or from those of us who were already here when they arrived, we can start there, because we didn't uh we didn't take from ourselves. And yes, in the Old Testament, we didn't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, and it put us in a position that isn't desirable at all. But it's up to us to learn from that and to move forward. And they can't. They may think they are stopping reparations, but all they have to do really is stop paying that place over there to exist, and
Mhm.
telling us that, well, that's our friend in the region, so we have to take care of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
well,
you heard what
Lisa, can I pay you to be my friend?
yeah, right. And you remember Juliana Margulies.
Margalize.
Yeah, right. It should be Juliana marginalized. So
Yes.
anyway, she said, "You're lower than me. You're black. You're lower than me." I wish she was in my face. I wish she was in my face when she said it. See, you know why they talk like that, y'all? They talk like that because they're safe. She's
Yes.
looking at a face that looked just like hers, and she feels safe in doing that. I dare her to walk on the street and confront any group of Black people and say we're lower than her.
Oh
I
no, she's
dare
not gonna
you,
do that.
Juliana Margulies. I dare you.
Double dog dare you.
Okay, you know you're in a safe zone. I wish she would cross my path and say it.
I'm
I
glad you
wish
brought
she
her up.
would.
I'm glad you brought her up because she has this impression, and her and Michael Rappaport and others like them have this impression that because they supported Black Lives Matter and they put a black square on their social media, that, well, I supported y'all. Okay, well, no, actually, you didn't, because when you really look at the organization, not the phrase Black Lives Matter, but the organization, Soros is one of hers. So
Well, and
actually,
not
you
only
still
that,
supporting your people.
not only that, nobody from that group can claim they did the biggest supporting, because when you look at those marches, you see our people out there. Nobody's bigger than us. And then you see some white people, you see Asians, you see
Hmm.
some East Indians, you see a little bit of everybody out there. There is no group of people that can make the claim that you gave the biggest support. And that is even the case during the Civil Rights March. When you go look at those
Oh,
pictures, you
yes.
saw you saw maybe two Jewish rabbis, but the Catholic priests were out there. There were some uh, white Christian pastors out there. It was a mixture of everything out there. But when you listen to them, you would think they were the only group on the planet that was out there with us. And that is false. And that has
Well,
never been true.
no, it hasn't. And they claim it because they put the money behind organizations like the NAACP.
Right. And you don't do things just so you can browbeat people into reciprocating. Did we ask them to put money behind it? Did we
Or
personally ask them to put money behind it?
build these schools like Spelman and Morehouse to miseducate those of us who end up being traitors to our own community.
Yeah,
I
and you
mean,
got Michael Rappaport out here pretty much saying that because we didn't come out in a big way, they're gonna get ready to retaliate on us.
black tar in their veins. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say the last
I'm
word.
like, what kind
I
of
mean,
crap is this?
he's married to a black woman, correct?
Yes.
They have children.
No, I don't think
What?
they do.
Okay, great, outstanding. I'm glad they don't, because we don't need black children under his household, because that's what they would be. Because they'll never be white. As a matter of fact, if you know why they're so scared of us, they portray, because we're violent, and we just can't control ourselves. No, it's because if we really wanted to, we could drive them out of existence without firing one shot.
Yeah,
Without
but I mean,
firing one shot.
you can't we okay, right now the wars that we see are Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Hamas. I don't see these violent black people out here fighting. I do see violence, but I don't see
Uh-huh.
us heading all the violence that we're looking at on this earth. Nor have I ever seen us head all the violence that's happening on this earth. I have seen it greatly exaggerated on our
Yes.
people, but
Uh-huh.
in my
Uh-huh.
life, I have seen many people that look pale and they have committed a lot of violent acts. But see, when you own the media, you can
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
manipulate the minds. You can manipulate the hearts and souls of the people. So all you did was put our community's news out on Front Street and kept yours in the back hidden. That's all you really did, but the violence is there. in all of these communities.
Ron Paul said on the congressional floor that Israel formed Hamas to fight Yasser Arafat and the PLO.
Yes, I heard that before too.
Now, with that being understood, then y'all are over there fighting yourselves. I mean, you're not even fighting yourselves. You just want whoever those people are there now, the Palestinians, to just die and go away so you can take the rest.
Right.
That's what you want. And they have said it, and they say it not in the direct way I just did, but they're saying that, you know, they're using Palestinians as human shields. Okay, but that doesn't mean you kill everyone to get this one person or 10 or 1,500. You don't kill 15,000 people to get 1,500 people. That's not the way it works. If it was that, then, you know, when there's a bank robbery here in the States, then you just go in and kill everybody and say, we got them. Never mind, yeah, we killed the teller too. Oops. But and I'm sure you're aware that after 9/11, a lot of the police chiefs went over there for training and came back
Right.
here, and it did. I mean, tell me how you view it, Lisa. It
No,
seemed
I
I
remember
was
they went over and got trained by the IDF.
yes, I was born in '73. In the late '80s up into the '90s, there wasn't this angst that is apparent now. Maybe that was the quiet before the storm, but it seemed like after, not even seeing, after 2000 hit, it's been one thing after another.
Yes.
9/11, this uh, Kung flu,
Yes.
and now we have this, and there have been other things along the way, but those are the large events
Right.
that have changed society.
Mm-hmm.
I am so upset with our people who completely ignored the Tuskegee experiment and rolled up their sleeve.
Yeah.
I do not understand that. I do not. And for the ones of us who told us, oh no, the preachers and everyone else, oh, you can't come into my congregation unless, you done got your treatment or you wearing this face covering.
Oh yeah, one of my cousins actually told me that. One of my melanated cousins,
Oh my
my
goodness.
cousin, I had a cousin that was 60 years old and he died of heart failure.
Okay.
And they had his funeral and she made an announcement, if you didn't get the jab, you can't come to the funeral. And I said, fine, I won't come. See me, I'm not going to sit around and cry and argue with you. Then fine, I won't be there. So what I did was they had, because a lot of the funeral homes now um will let
They
you
do it
watch it
online.
on live stream. So I
Yeah.
just watched my cousin's funeral on live stream. Look, I'm not getting no jab just to show up for a funeral. I'm
Mm.
not
Something
getting
that
no.
something that
I
can
don't care
affect
if
you
you
for the
are my
rest of your
blood.
life.
Yeah, I don't care if you are my blood relative or not. I am not getting something that I don't want just to show up to a funeral. And I looked at it this way. I loved my cousin. He going to be dead whether I show up or not. My presence is not going to bring him back. So if that's how it's going to be in the family, then I guess I just won't be showing up no more. I ain't going to shed no tear over that.
Lisa, what he told us. He told us that if you love your father, mother, sister, or brother more than me, you are not worthy of me. That's what the Lord told us.
Mhm.
So we have to
I
put
don't believe I have to physically do something to myself in order to see a family member lying in a coffin. If I got to do that, then I just won't come. So if you're going to, what you're saying to me is We over here that got it done, we got the clear pass to do whatever we want. But if you didn't get it, I'm restricting you. Then restrict my ass. That's the way I
But
see it. Then restrict me. I guess I just won't be showing up no more. But
I have
nobody's gonna force my hand. I don't even care if you my blood. You ain't forcing my hand into doing something that I clearly said I don't want to do.
I have a very good friend of mine. She's Filipino. She's Asian. She married a black man. I'm so pissed with her in-laws. They told them you can't come to the family reunion unless you get the treatment.
Yeah. Then I guess I won't be showing up.
Yeah, they did. They unfortunately they did. Her husband, of course, and their children. I'm like, and I have been talking to her and told her, don't do that. And
Mm-hmm.
that she having health issues that she didn't have before.
Yeah.
And I haven't raked her over the coals about it because I mean she living it, so I don't have to. She's still my friend, but I'm so pissed with her in-laws, and they look like me, and it's like, dude, what is it saying? If you don't know your history, you're doing to repeat it. What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. But and I was telling them, I said, you don't know what's gonna happen. But the one thing I want you to know, if there's gonna all be these restrictions on me because I won't do it, then I guess this is really our final goodbye. I'm serious. I mean, no, man.
we
You don't
should
tell me
not
no
have to.
crap like that.
We should not have to work against ourselves. If you know what I'm saying, if you get what I'm saying, for your relatives that's outside of you, for not even your relatives, but the people that are you. You know what I'm saying? Because we share this skin color. It's no different than this self identity BS that is absolute lunacy. You know, there are people who walk away from that lifestyle, who change. There's not a day coming when I can stop being black.
Mhm.
I don't care how many operations and skin grafts Sammy Sosa has to make himself not look like who he is. You're gonna have to keep going back to the doctor to maintain that, but it still doesn't change who you are.
No, it sure don't.
You know,
And let me tell you, if he had a baby right now, that baby gonna come out a deep dark melanin, just like he used to be. It don't matter what he fade his skin into. That baby gonna be chocolate.
that's right. Whether he likes it or not, he gonna have to take the baby with him to start their operations early.
Mhm. Mhm. Ain't that something? But no, you know what upset me though, LS? When I
What's that?
read the Africans are bleaching their children's skin. That blew
Oh,
me away. Okay, it's bad enough the adults are doing it. Y'all doing this to your babies?
wow. Meanwhile, and I just saw that. I didn't even believe this before I saw it, and I seen it, and I still don't believe it. You can buy melanin.
Yes.
So why are you trying to get rid of what someone else is willing to pay for?
Yeah.
I don't. I can't. I can't. That doesn't even register. It's like the words say, even so, Lord, come quickly, because this thing is completely off the rails. And like the brother mentioned before, which the Lord has told us, once we getting closer to the end, time is speeding up.
Yes.
You
It
know, it,
certainly
it
is.
seems like Joe Biden was just elected like last week, and here we are supposedly supposed to choose some. Well, those are people who vote, if that even matters. I think that should be the biggest takeaway from what happened in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Your vote don't count. the largest voting bloc in America are the people who don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yet here we are. We're being shown that we're going to have this choice, maybe, and then we have these, I mean, absolute idiots. For all the education that these people can show you they have on paper, they open their mouths and they tell you exactly who they are, whether they're trying to or not. We have people in our community calling Kamala Harris sister girl, and she not one of us.
She's East
Although
Indian.
say
She's
that
an East
again.
Indian. She ain't no sister at all. She's an East Indian.
Even though she said, what about Joe Biden when she was running for president and couldn't even win her own state? That, well,
Mm-hmm.
you segregated me and had me on this bus and this, that, and the third, but then you turn right around and be his vice president.
Right. It's just as bad as Obama. Obama knew what Joe Biden's history was and him using the N word, and he still made him a vice president.
Called Obama a clean black man. So I guess me and all other black men are dirty. Is
Mm-hmm.
that what you're saying by not saying it, but saying it at the same time?
Yeah.
You know what?
But something is wrong anytime you listen to the news. 1 minute Kamala is black, and then the next minute she's Asian. Then the
Uh-huh.
next, you know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? I was like, okay, this lady, she turns into a racial chameleon.
Mm-hmm.
she's,
Mm-hmm.
she's
Mm-hmm.
this one day and this the next day.
And brings her narrow behind to Atlanta to I guess support. She went to Howard, but what have you done for Howard? Are they still sleeping on the yard in tents? I don't know. I'm in Atlanta. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you come in here to uh perpetrate this image that we supposed to buy. I want my people to wake up. I want the people who, whether you took the shot or not, you can still wake up. It's people who look like us who understand now. I shouldn't have did that. And I'm sorry. I know better now. And they looking at everything with the side eye. I want my people to stop joining these Greek fraternities and sororities and separating themselves from those who will only have your back when it really comes down to it. Not to say that there aren't others, because I'll talk to some Asians too, and I think they're called the Moog. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but I had the opportunity to speak to one, and he said they were displaced by China, who wouldn't take them in, and basically were brought to America. And they recognize, the ones I've spoken to recognize crystal clear what has happened to us and understand fully that, yep, y'all should be getting reparations. But yet our government cuts checks yearly, monthly, whenever they say, with what just happened, what did Biden say? Oh, well, we're going to get Israel whatever they need.
Well, Nancy Pelosi said we were going to fund the war even if we go broke, even if it breaks the economy. That's what
Yeah.
she said. She said even if it breaks the economy, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You
They
know?
don't. And
So,
they
brother,
sure.
thank you so much for being on the panel. I do appreciate it. And definitely, you're more than welcome to come back again.
I can't wait till you do this next live when you call people up. It was great speaking to you, Lisa.
Uh-huh.
Shalom to the chat.
Shalom.
Be blessed. I love y'all.
Mm-hmm. Shalom. Is it Ayel?
Yeah,
Adam?
that's how you
Israel?
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's how you announce it. Yeah, Shalom from Britain, elderly. So I've been listening to you for a few years now. It's an honor to finally jump on stage and chat to you.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the panel.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What would you like to say?
Yeah, I would like to thank you a lot because I learned from, because long story short, been in Israel for about 10 years now, from July of 2013. So in July, I had my 10-year anniversary being in Israel. And I think, yeah, during lockdown, I was listening to you, and you showed me the 12 patriarch books, which I didn't know existed. And that when I read about when I read about it, I was so interested. Showed my cousin, she was interested. And yeah, one thing that I liked about when you showed that book, I mean, when you showed those great books, you showed that, this whole lie that the camps say that women can't teach. When
Right.
Paul said, I beg not a woman to teach," he was saying his opinion. He wasn't saying law. And he was speaking about women at the time in that certain area, because we had our people acting like Greeks. So he was referring to our women at the time acting like Greeks. So
Absolutely. And what was going on, the women were being rude, and
yeah,
they were speaking when the teaching was going on. So when he made that statement, he was talking to those women that were present before him. And that's why he said, if you have any questions, you go to your husband, because those women were being very disruptive. That's
yeah,
why
yeah,
he said that.
yeah, and I can imagine, and what a lot of Israelites need to understand as well. Paul being a Benjamite, as we know, the Benjamites, they were like wolves. So the way they done things was very rough. So Paul, being how he was, he was just acting by his nature of being a Benjamite, how rough they were. And because as I said, the Benjamites will be like wolves, and as they multiplied, they did become like wolves because they were the smallest tribe, so they stuck together a lot. And when this Israelite civil war happened, I think it was everyone versus them and another tribe. But long story short, they're very, they was very, like, how could I say, there was that one tribe that stayed to themselves a lot, and kind of cut themselves off a bit. So, and when they did come around other Israelites, they may have been a bit like wolves, and even with people that weren't Israelites, they was kind of like wolves. So it's like, people got to understand the way Paul's nature was. He didn't have any kids. He come, and the what he was doing to Israelites before he got before he had this intervention. People, a lot of Israelites have to understand Paul's character, and realize he wasn't talking about all women. Like you were saying, it was women at that very time, when he was teaching.
Hmm. And he was right. When a lesson is going on, and I agree with them, when a lesson is going on, the women do need to be quiet. If the man is up there teaching, you need to be learning. You do need to shut the hell up and be quiet. But no, he was not saying that to every woman in the land. He was saying it to those women that were sitting there at the time and being very disruptive and rude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what one thing I'm glad about as well, that I heard you speak about that example. I don't believe in the 12 tribe as well. I believe all Israelites are black, because if you think about it, Father Jacob had 12 sons between four of his cousins. If any black man has four 12 sons between four of his cousins, all 12 of his sons are going to be black. And this 12 tribe chart, it really annoys me, because it's so sad that so much practice in Israel actually believe in this lie. And it's plain sight that this 12 tribe chart thing, because biblically, as we see in Genesis, the 12 tribe chart in the Bible, that's real. But what I'm trying to say, in regards to applying it to, that the Mongoloid Latinos, and now all 12 tribes are black. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, it has actually. I think that chart has caused a lot of division
It
among
has,
a
it
lot
has,
of
and
people.
it has an unnecessary division as well, unfortunately, because I'm for positive division, but not unnecessary division.
Right, right. And, and unfortunately, I'm still coming across many people that wholeheartedly believe everything on that chart.
Yeah, like because example here in I live in North London, but that example we have Israelites here in London, and
Oh,
they
yeah, I
they
know
do
you
this.
do. Yes,
Yeah,
I've seen the videos of the ones over there in London. Yes.
and they do when they do the street preaching. Long story short, there's Israel. I don't even speak to them anymore because they believe in a 12 church, and I realize, I'm not gonna put it this way. Things could get so tense with our disagreements, it could turn into a physical fight. So I'd rather not even. I don't. So when I see practice in Israel, I don't even speak to them anymore because they believe so much in that 12 tribe chart. Another thing is as well, they keep trying to graft in a lot of Hamites, and I'm not down with because a lot of them will say, because put it this way, I grew up here in Britain. We do have a lot of Hamites. A lot of them are okay. A lot of them ain't okay. What it is, they keep because how can I say? Long story short, they keep trying to graft in a lot of people from like Ghana and Nigeria. Personally, I don't believe Ghana. I don't believe West Africans are Israelites because they don't match Deuteronomy 20. I believe if you wasn't on the if you wasn't on the boat and you didn't experience what we experienced, I don't believe you're an Israelite. And a lot of them bring in people that are sub-Saharan African, and I'm like, no, I personally don't believe that a lot of sub-Saharan Africans are Israelites.
No, and not only that, even over in West Africa, if there are, they're scattered.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
no, it's just like what we were talking about earlier when we got people that think everybody in South America is a car. That is not true.
yeah, that's not true.
I
You that
think Judah would actually be over in South America because Judah is spread out everywhere. So you would have Judah, you would have you would have some that are Issachar, but you would also have people of the other tribes mixed in down there in South America. It wouldn't be all no Issachar. That
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
even make any sense.
Yeah, and because when it comes to who's from which tribe and whatnot, all the way I describe it, I just say, I think personally the most we can do is speculate before Christ returns and puts us back in the categories of what tribes really are. And the way I speculate is I look at the brothers by the 12 Israelite brothers by the characteristics. So example, someone like Usain Bolt, I personally believe he's from the tribe of Naphtali because Naphtali was the fastest out of all the brothers. Or example, someone like the rest of Booker T, Dwayne Brock Johnson, they were very physically strong in their heydays. So I personally believe that they're Reuben because Reuben was the most actually. I'll say they're either Reuben or Judah because Reuben and Judah were the most physically strongest out of all the brothers. Or example, if we think about someone who just naturally successful in regards to what they do, I could
Right.
speculate, they're from Joseph because Joseph was naturally successful with his hands. So that's the most we can do at that time. I mean, in this time, in my opinion.
Right. And then even the islands, this island, they're all this. This island, no, they're not.
Yeah, yeah, I don't
It's
believe that
just like
because
when
I'm.
somebody said to me, I don't mean to cut you off. It was just like when someone said to me, the Haitians are Levi. And I said, well, that can't really be 100% true because some of those Haitians would be Judah. Some
Yeah,
of those
yeah, yeah,
Haitians
yeah.
would be Benjamin. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It couldn't be one island is all one thing. Then that's not scattered. Doesn't that defeat what it says in the Bible about us being scattered if we're all in one location?
Yeah, yeah, because because it's like I'm from the islands as well. I'm from Montserrat, Saint Vincent, and Grenada. All three of the islands are above Venezuela, where I'm from.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was born and raised in Britain, so too my parents as well. And they're in their 60s. I'm 34. I'm going to be 35 in February. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, the fourth tribe chart will say that I'm from Benjamin, but I personally don't agree with that right? Because it was right now, it's part of our punishment that we don't know our tribe. So right now is we basically have to that be on a vibe where we don't know what our tribe is as part of our punishment, as paying for what we've done in our past lives.
Right. Yeah. You know, and that's why I'm not buying this. Oh, all the Jamaicans are this and all the Haitians are that. Then that's not scattered.
Yeah,
It's not scattered then. You
yeah,
know?
and I just that because I really do think there needs to be like serious reformation amongst the camps because I'm just that because when it comes to things that getting non-black people and white people to kiss feet and I'm not down with any of that. I mean, and what else? Just that the aggression that's amongst the camps is that that how I said that if you be brutal to our people, he's gonna put evil on you. I think Jeremiah 23, and yeah, a lot of the camps are moving quite brutal right now, and it's just that yeah, things are really frustrating me. I'll be honest.
Yeah. It is. It is. And I think in some sense they are helpful. When I first came into the truth, they did help me in learning who I was. But I think at a certain point, you got to kind of grow and you could kind of got to break away from that so you can continue on your path in learning.
I
But
get I get what you said. I mean, myself personally, I always fight the camps. I just have a lot of disagreements right now because it's like wherever we are on the planet, we're in serious how can I say we're in like serious conditions. I mean, you look at Israelites that are in Yemen. Like Yemen is the worst place on the whole planet to be a black person, in my opinion. Well,
mhm,
like when you see Israelites scattered, like the black Iranians, they're living under heavy sanctions. Um, yeah, and them being Israelites, you look at the cities in India. I think I heard you mention them as well. But yeah, wherever you see Israelites, like you see them in the slums of Brazil, that a lot of us, or parts of the Caribbean, a lot of us just that yeah, a lot of us in serious conditions, and I just feel that we can't be that a lot of Israelites cannot be playing around with our identity, trying to say Mongoloid Latinos and Arab Latinos are Israelites because one thing is because we got Latinos here in Britain. Our Latinos are from South America though, and
uh-huh,
long story short, a lot of the Mongoloid Latinos they can't stand us. Like I've personally been amongst them. They cannot stand us. We're not people with them.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we already know, we have a lot of racism here in America, and there's a lot in British, over there in Britain. And
Yeah,
you also gotta filter in that's where it all originated from. So yeah, it would be like that.
yeah. Like Britain is a very anti-black country because what it is. One thing that I do when I speak to Americans, I always let them know that example here in what when you not see footage of Britain. What one thing the British media does to portray itself to America, it shows West London a lot. And one
Mm,
thing that I like to do, and when I chat to Americans like yourself, is show them that what they show in West London is not, it does not represent the rest of Britain at all. That Britain is a very, very anti-black country. The ethnic tensions here are very, what's up, are very serious. Because what a like example, we have a lot of Kurdish people from Iraq. So as the 2003 invasion happened, a lot of Kurdish people from Iraq came over here to seek refuge.
yeah.
And
And you can also see the racism even with that royal family when all that stuff went down with Meghan Markle. It was just straight up white supremacy what they were doing to her.
yeah,
It
because
was straight up white
um,
supremacy. And then they were like, well, she left. Well, you know what? Everybody ain't gonna sit around and just take that. And I think sometimes they really, even the ones over here, really believe whatever they dish out. We don't have a choice. We got to take it. That's BS. We ain't got to
yeah,
take
yeah,
nothing.
because what it is over here, we had something called the Rivers of Blood speech. I think it was in the 60s. There was an open anti-black white supremacist politician called Enoch Powell. Powell. He said that one day the black man will have the upper hand over the white man. So long story short, since the 60s, white people here in Britain and non-black people had a fear that black people would take over Britain because our grandparents and our great grandparents had a lot of kids. What it is, their kids didn't have much kids. So long story short, they thought that um they they thought that Britain was going to be taken over by a whole load of black people through breeding, but a lot of black people didn't breed. We had a lot of us had children. We had a lot of children in like the 60s, but in the 80s and the 90s, we had very few children because a lot of us couldn't afford to have children.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, the non-black people here, they've always had like a fear that that we take over Britain. So, example, with Meghan Markle now, they feared that her being mixed race, they would feel that that's going to invite more black people into the royal family. Then eventually, the royal family become black.
Well, that's not really necessarily true, being that she was really the only biracial there. And number two, how were they really treating her over there? They weren't treating her like she was biracial. They were treating her like she was a full black woman.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how they were treating her.
What's happening here as well? Like example, because how could I say? Because a lot of Caucasian numbers have gone down within the last probably like 20 years or something like that. What that is example? The reason why Britain was part of that example when as you probably saw the whole Brexit scenario. The
Yes.
reason why our British politicians didn't want to take us out of Brexit, although we legally voted to leave the European Union. The reason why they tried to block Brexit was because what it was, our politicians and half of the population is pro Europe. What they wanted was an influx of majority white immigration coming from Europe. So long story short, from 2004 to 2019, we had 15 years of majority white immigration coming in from Europe, and
Mhm.
that was ethnically replenishing. How could I say the the low white numbers that was here? That was bringing in more. That was bringing in fresh white blood basically. So that's the reason why a lot of our politicians and half of the pro European public was trying to block Brexit.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, eh, British and America, they're like sisters, when it
Yeah,
comes down to a lot of policy. And yeah, not that I'm pro Meghan Markle, because I'm not, but I also remember when they referred to Archie, her son, as a monkey in one of the publications over
it's easy.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, it really came out when they were still there, and they were like, "Well, she broke up the family." Actually, no, she didn't. Actually, no, she didn't. If all of that was not happening, she would still be sitting over there. But, like I said, everybody is not going to just take racism. And that, I think that's what many of them expect. You just going to take it. No, we're not. It's just like what they say to us here. Well, if you don't like it, so go back to Africa. So what they're saying is, if you don't want our abuse, you can leave. First of all, you don't get to order nobody out of this country. Okay. No matter where we are, you don't get to order us out of the country. And number two, no, we don't have to sit and take it. No, we
yeah,
don't.
yeah. And if anyone was to, like, if anyone was to ever say to me, why don't you go back to Africa? I'll let them know. Well, I'll be like, well, to be honest, I'm actually a descendant of the original black people of Iraq. You know, as we know, Father Abraham was Iraqi. So yeah, I'll always say that. If anyone ever tried to say that to me, and if someone was to say to me, why don't you go? So why don't you go to Iraq? And I'll be like, Britain blew Iraq down, and even separate from that, isn't it? What's it? It's a secular Islamic country. I don't want to live in an Islamic country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So, thank you so much for coming on the panel. I do appreciate, our time spent, and it was a great time talking to you as well. It's
Thanks,
always
thanks,
good
sure.
to hear from
Thanks.
somebody in Britain, I think you're the
Thanks.
first person from Britain that ever got on my panel.
Okay, nice. I'm glad to hold that title. Thanks.
Yes. All right. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Elder Lisa. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
JD Wolf 03, welcome to the panel. Shalom.
Can you
Hello.
hear me?
Yes, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes.
Shalom. I thank you, and I hope you're having a good day. I'm listening to the conversations and the information. I heard about you from one of the camp brothers. He used to play a lot of your videos.
Oh, okay.
And I was listening. I woke up this morning and I was like, okay, Lisa's going live. Let's see what she's talking about. I'm ex-military. I'm a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I am ex-Air Force Special Forces Police. And there was a lot of things that was taught to me in the Air Force. Me and my friends and my cousins who are also veterans, and some are, my nephews are now military. We always used to talk about the difference in the branches. And they always said, well, the Air Force is the cheer force. And I used to tell them, I said, no, we're the brain force. We're the ones who control y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be like, oh, well, y'all always get the good stuff and da 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 da. To make a long story short, basically, I've always been told you got to know the difference between words and terms. Words create, terms destroy.
Mm-hmm.
What our problem is with our people a lot of time is we don't define shit. Excuse my expression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Being ex-military SF, and when I got out, I became a sheriff's deputy. I've been a corrections officer, juvenile and adult. I've also been a mercenary. I used to work with the BW crew. I was listening to you and the brothers talk about who made up Hamas. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
same people who made up Hamas made up ISIS, because part of the BW crew was the one who went in and destabilized Syria, Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them. If you know who John Prince is, John Prince went to jail because he used to run Blackwater.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Blackwater. Okay.
Okay. Blackwater is now called Academia, and people don't even understand that they are in Ukraine and over there now.
Oh, okay.
I've got a nephew he's in a base near Syria, and he's basically giving me information of what's really going on, not what the news says. And we are in for a treat. One of the things I got taught being SF was predictive programming. You see the movies that are coming out now?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all were just talking about it, and then you've got one coming out in April, supposedly Civil War.
Yes.
That's the plan. A lot of these immigrants that are coming in are military. People don't understand that. These are young dudes in between 18 and 40 came over here single, and they're just shipping them all over the place. What do you think that's about?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to give their pound of flesh. But what they're not looking at is a lot of these guys that are coming here, they're like we're talking, they're talking too. See, you got all these preppers out here doing all this stuff, thinking that they're going to get away with this, or when you bring more people here, or you bring these people invade, everything is going to happen their way. It's not. I had a chance to go to, I pulled bodies like Katrina, and I remember the news reports after I left there,
Mm-hmm.
and how much people they said died. They didn't even give you a clue. They said 1,400 to 2,500 people. We did that in 3 months.
You know, I believe that. That's one thing about these folks. They play around with numbers a lot.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I tell people if you don't define the word, see, people don't understand just like birth and birth, birth and berth. It's the same word, they just flipped it. When you are born, that's birth, that's natural birth. When you bring in a ship, that's birth. The canal for the ship holds the bill of lading, which, when you go back to birth, is your birth certificate. It's a contract. See, people don't understand that. We don't understand that we are under English, still under English rule. Give you an example. Lawyers get the bar card. What is the bar card? When you look it up, it's a British accredited registry. Lawyers still belong to England, and this country does too.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to hear that. They be like, "Oh man, you make it." I said, "Go into court, or if a cop stops you, ask him this: Do you have a claim against you?" I've said that so many times in different states when I was working, and the cops just turn away. They know exactly what it means. You got to have a claim. A ticket is not a claim when you are allowed to run freely. Even the Supreme Court knows that travel, operator, and driver are three different things, and they don't want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Judges will run you straight out of their court. I've done it. But my whole point of the conversation is we are at a junction point. We are at the end of an age. And looking at the end of an age, basically what I'm saying is you got to get your mind right. I
Mm-hmm.
tell people all the time when they ask me, they say, well, who you are? Uh, all of my tattoos are wolves. I said, there's a difference between wolves and dogs need to stay on the porch. Because you see, they pretend to be the wolves, thinking that because they think they got the upper hand. They're the dogs. I'm not a cog in the machine. I'm a ghost in it. And when I tell people stuff, it ain't because I read it somewhere. I still got friends in places that I get information for. So I live my life accordingly. When it comes down to the Most High, I try to follow all of his laws and statutes, but I know this is just a rehearsal.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to that for me, I don't try to come together with everybody. I had a so-called white gentleman tell me I was a anti-Semite because I was doing my job, not letting him in, so I'm anti-Semite. And I said, I can't be. And he goes, how do you mean you can't be? I said, because that word was made up along with the J in the 1500s. I'm Shemitic, and there's 8 Shemitic races still on the planet. But before I let you go, I was stationed in the Philippines.
Oh,
I
okay.
went to I went to the island of Negros, Occidental, and you might as well call it nigger Occidental because you see all those Because when I went there, I saw brothers, like I saw brothers in the United States. They just spoke that funky language.
Mhm.
And I spoke at the time, he was called King Alphonse. And I remember the first thing he said to me, he said, "You are my brother." And I looked at him, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah." Because most of my time in the military, I spent in Asia. And I had a big thing in the 80s where I used to love ninja movies. And they always used to talk about the, what's the name of the mountain? The Eagle Mountains. So I took a trip there. And guess what? All the dark skinned Japanese are up in that area.
Mhm.
Uh, And just like you were talking about, we are scattered everywhere.
We are.
And when I went to Sweden, when I went to Australia, when I went to all those places, I was like, I was looking for the brothers, And when I say brothers, we know that we are mixed in. The thing is, everybody's now at the end of this age, everybody now is starting to see that all truths are coming out.
Mhm.
I I had a white lady tell me in Louisiana when I was there for Katrina. She said, "You speak so well." And I just looked at her and I grinned. And she said, "What's funny?" I said, "It's amazing that you said that to me." And she said, "Why do you say that?" I said, "Because the only reason you speak well is because we're the ones who cleaned you up after we stomped you out in Rome."
Mhm.
And she put her head down and walked away. These people don't expect from us. They think we are nothing. We created everything on the planet,
Yes.
and they don't want to give us the credit for that.
Mhm.
And the thing is, when they don't give us credit, they steal everything we have. And before I end this, there's one video I saw. It was a movie where I can't remember the name of the actor, the male actor, black actor. And the white actor was telling him, "You need to say something. You need to say something." And he said, "Okay, you want me to say something?" And he says, "Yes." He says, "There's going to come a time where you will see who we are because you're a virus. And we're the next virus that comes along and wipe you out." With that said, Lisa, it's been a joy to speak to you. Have
Yes.
a nice day. I love
You
your
too.
platform.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shalom,
You're
brother.
welcome. Shalom.
All right, y'all. We are going to conclude, and we'll be doing this again. Even if you didn't get a chance to come on the platform and talk, we'll definitely do this again. So, y'all, this was nice to spend this day. That everybody in the world is focused on gifts and Christmas trees and Santa Claus. It's just nice not to have to worry about that. I sure don't miss it. You can best believe that. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here. And just be on the lookout for my videos. If you haven't had a chance to watch the videos that I put out, please go over and watch those. And to everybody in the chat, shalom, family.